Hi everyone, and welcome to the 7th and final part of this tutorial series to create a JavaScript Asteroids game. You can go ahead and download this code if you don't already have it. So in this tutorial we're going to learn how to add sound effects to our game, and music to some extent. First of all, go ahead and download the sound files from the link below. I'll link to a zip file. It's important that you extract the sounds directory to the same location as the HTML file. So I've just created a folder called Asteroids here, put in both the code and the sounds folder. That's important because we'll be referencing this directory inside our code. So inside the sounds directory there'll be 6 sounds: explode, hit, laser, music high, music low, and thrust. I just used the program Audacity to create those, but I won't show you that here. We can save that for another tutorial. So go ahead and open our code. So head down to where we set up our variables. So just after we set up the canvas, let's set up sound effects. So it's a pretty simple process. We just need to create a variable. Let's prefix all our variables with fx, just to make it clear. So fx laser will equal new audio. And just inside there we'll need a string for the source. So that'll be the directory name, sounds / the name of our file. So laser.m4a. Now, where do we want to call that? Where do we want to play that sound? Well, in the laser method, don't we? So just head down to where we press the spacebar. There should be a shoot laser method. Now within that if condition, all we have to do is go fx laser dot play. And because it's a function call, we'll need the parenthesis. Let's give that a go. Okay, a couple of problems. First of all, it's quite loud, so we can fix that up in code. And secondly, when I push the spacebar continuously, it's not playing every shot. So watch again. So although I fired about 10 shots, it only played it about 3 or 4 times. That's because when the sound is playing and I call another play method, it won't play it until it's finished. So that's a problem. We can fix that up though. So head back up to where we create our audio. Currently we're using this inbuilt object or inbuilt class called audio. How about we create our own custom object called sound? It will behave exactly the same way. We'll make sure that it does. Go down and create that. Let's create it just before our update function. So function sound. The first parameter will be the source. Now, the second parameter, how about we create a parameter that handles multiple concurrent plays of our file. So let's call that max streams and set its default to 1. That's currently the behavior we're experiencing now. So when we push the space bar multiple times, it will only play one sound at a time. And we'll also want to set the volume here. Now volume takes a value between 0 and 1. So how about we give it the default value of 1, which is maximum volume or normal volume. So we'll have to keep track of which stream we're currently playing. So we can go this.stream num equals 0. And we'll also need to keep track of each stream. So that could be handled by an array, for example. So this.streams will equal an empty array. Now to populate that array, we can just use a for loop. So for var I equals 0, I is less than max streams, I++. So we can push to that array. So this.streams, we'll have to prefix all our variables here with this so that it's referring to the objects variable. So this.streams.push. Now all we have to push is a new audio object. So new audio, and it takes the source as an argument. And we may as well set the volume here. So this.streams I dot volume volume will equal vol. That's what we're passing up here. That should set that up okay. Next, we need to implement the play function, so we can handle that by going this.play will equal function. Now we'll need to increment the stream number so that we cycle through each of the streams. So we can do that by going this.stream num will equal, put this in brackets, this.stream num plus 1, incrementing it, and find the modulus of the max streams. I'll explain that soon. So then we'll call we'll find that element. So this.streams, the element number will be this.stream num, this.stream num dot play. So that's just the inbuilt play function. So for example, if max streams equals 2, right? So this stream number 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 modulus 2 is 1. So that will play the second element of our streams array. When this function is called again, so stream number is currently 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 modulus 2 is 0. It'll play the first element of that array. So in essence, it will cycle through. It will cycle through playing each of those elements, each of the array's elements, as the play function is called, which is what we want. So let's test that. So currently it's max streams equals 1. It behaves exactly the same way. So let's head back up to where we call our initial laser sound. Here we go. And give it some arguments. So the number of streams, let's try 2. And the volume, let's turn it down a bit to say 0.5. Right, so the volume's okay. Now if I push the spacebar as fast as I can you hear that it's only playing 2 of them? That's because our max streams is 2. So what's a realistic number we could set here? How about 5? That's probably fast enough so the player wouldn't notice. Let's try it. I think that's pretty good. It looks pretty realistic to me. Awesome. Next, it's just a matter of implementing our other sounds. So let's copy that and implement fx explode. So that's where our ship crashes into an asteroid. Just update the source to sound/explode.m4a. We'll delete, we won't use any arguments here. We'll just use the default ones. Now where will we call fx explode? Well, explode ship comes to mind. Where are we? Draw explode ship. So just after that, fx explode.play. Let's give that a go. So if we crash, yeah, that sounds pretty good. It's not too loud, I don't think. Great. Head back up to our audio. Let's create another one called FX hit. So this is where our laser strikes an asteroid I should say. Sounds hit. Again, we'll just leave the default sound. Make sure that actually we'll probably need to increase the max streams. The reason being is that we could, in theory, hit a lot of asteroids at the same time because we're firing out lasers in quick succession. So how about we give that the same number of max streams as the FX laser? And where will we call that? Well, probably when we destroy our asteroid. That's probably the right time to do it. So how about destroy the asteroid, FX hit dot play. Sorry, that was just the background ship blowing up. Let's give that a go. So when we shoot an asteroid, yeah, that sounds all right. So we're shooting out a lot of lasers, and we can hear some simultaneous hit sounds. Cool, that sounds all right. I'm just thinking, to stop us hearing background explosions all the time, let's create a global flag called, for example, sound on, and we'll only allow sound when that flag is set to true. So there's an explosion, for example. So if sound on, then we will play the sound. If sound on, then we will play this sound. Let's go and create that flag now. So just under where we show, for example, sound dots and so on, create a constant, sound on, and that will be equal to false. So let's just run that, make sure it's working. Yeah, so no sounds will be heard while we're programming. Next, let's implement the thruster sound. So just where we're creating the other sounds here, let's go fx thrust will equal sound slash thrust. We probably don't need any parameters here. Now where will we call that? Where will we play that? Probably down in the update method. In the update method we thrust the, here we go, thrust the ship. So just up near the top there, fx thrust.play. And when we release the thruster key, when we release the forward arrow, we'll probably need to stop that thrust sound as well. We don't want it to continue onwards. So how about we, in the else part of the condition, we go fx thrust.stop. So we'll have to implement this method. So fx thrust.stop. So go to our sound function and create a new method called this.stop will equal function. And all we'll do there is call the inbuilt pause function. So this stream num.pause, and we'll want to reset back to the start of that stream. So we can do that by going this.streamnum.current time equals 0. So that'll set the cursor or whatever it's called back to the start of that stream. Let's give that a go. Oh, we'll have to turn on our sound first to test this. So sound on will equal true. Yeah, that's working. And our thruster is working. Cool. Good, that's all our sound effects done. Next, let's create some music. Just set that sound on back to false so that we don't have to listen to explosions in the background. Okay. Now music, I use the word music very loosely. So just under where we set up the sound effects, set up the music. Now the music in Asteroids, the original game, was pretty much just two tones. It was going boop, 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 something like that. It's just kind of two different tones. So why don't we create a variable called music, and that will equal, we'll have to create a new object. It's called music, for example, and it will take the two sounds. So we'll have sounds music low, and the second parameter will be similar, sounds music high. So just the two sound files that we have, one's a low sort of tone and one's a high tone. Let's go down and create that object, just near where we create our sound object. New shoot laser, so just here. Function music. So we'll have source low and source high. So first of all, let's declare our variables. So we'll have two sounds. So this dot sound low, which will equal new audio source low. Right. Similarly, we'll have this sound high, which will equal new audio source high. And we'll also need to keep track of which sound are we currently playing. So we can just use a boolean for that. So this dot low will equal true. That means we'll start with the low sound. And we'll also need the speed of the music. The reason being is that as the game progresses, the speed of the music increases. So this dot, say, tempo will equal 1.0, say, and we'll define that as seconds per beat. We'll also need to somehow count down that tempo, so we can have create a variable called this dot beat time. We'll set it to 0 to begin with, and that's basically defined as the frames left until next beat. Right, we'll have to create our play function, so this dot play equals function. And what will it do? Well, if this dot low, we want to play the low sound. So this dot sound low dot play. Right, and otherwise, so else we want to play the high sound. This dot sound high dot play. Okay, and we also want to switch between those two, so we can handle that by going this dot low will equal not this dot low. So we're just switching true to false and false to true. Okay, good. We'll also need some way to count down this tempo as such, the beat time. So how about we create a function called this dot tick. This dot tick equals function, and this will be called every frame. So knowing that, we can say if this dot beat time equals 0, that means it's counted down, which it will have immediately. We want to play the current sound, so this dot play. We also want to reset the beat time, so this dot beat time will equal the ceiling, so we want to keep it as a integer, math.ceil of the tempo, so this dot tempo multiplied by the frame rate. So for example, if the current tempo is 1, the frame rate is 30, so we'll have 30 ticks until the sound is played, so that's 1 second. That sounds good. Now else, so it doesn't equal 0, we want to decrement it, so this dot beat time minus minus. Now where do we call this tick? Well, we need to call it in the update function. So just go down to the update function, up near the top, tick the music. So we can just go music.tick. Now hopefully that will play our music. Let's try. Okay, it's not playing. Let's see what's wrong. Let's head up to the top and see if everything's okay where we create our music. Music equals new music, sound music low. Okay, I forgot to add the extension to each of these music files, which is important. But luckily the game didn't break, so I'd say our code is all correct. Let's give it a go. Great, that seems to be working. That reminds me, we should probably put in a global variable, a global constant, music on. And we can just go down to our music method. And in our play, we can just say if music on, then we'll do all of that. Good. So we've turned our music off. Now how will we make the music go incrementally faster as the game progresses? Well, let's head up to where we declare our music variable and create a couple more variables, one called roids left and one called roids total. And we'll find a ratio of how many there are left to the total and use that as a guide. So just in our create asteroid belt, how about we set up the roids total? Roids total will equal the roid num. But remember, each of those big asteroids can be broken down into 2 mediums, and each of those mediums can be broken down into 2 smalls. So we'll have 4 smalls plus 2 mediums is 6, plus the original big one is 7. So roid num times 7 will be the total. And we'll want to make roids left equal to that. Roids left will equal the roids total. Actually, that should be the roid num plus the level, shouldn't it? Because you see down here, the number of asteroids is dependent on the level. So all of that times 7. Right, that should be okay. So head down to our destroy asteroid method. And just after we play the sound, let's calculate the ratio of remaining asteroids to determine music tempo. So first thing we'll need to do is roids left minus minus. We'll decrement that. And then we want to call a function on music, for example called set asteroid ratio. And then in there we can calculate the ratio. The only thing I can think of is if the roids left equals 0, then so roids left equals 0. If that's true, well, the ratio is going to be 1. We want to reset the ratio to just 1. Else, we will find the actual ratio. So roids left divided by roids total. So head down to our music object, music, and we want to create that method. This.set asteroid ratio equals function. We'll need to have an argument, have a parameter here called ratio. And this will modify our tempo. So this.tempo will equal the starting tempo minus 1.0 minus the ratio. Because when the ratio is, for example, 0.9, 1 minus 0.9 is 0.1, 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9. Yes, that's fine. The only problem I can see here is that this is going to get very small, so it'll become too small where we'll be playing hundreds of beats per minute. We don't want that. Per second, I should say. So let's multiply that by some factor, 0.75 times that. Right? So that means when the ratio is 0, 1 minus 0 is 1, 0.75 times 1 is 0.75, 1 minus 0.75 is 0.25. The fastest rate that we can go is 0.25. That's 4 beats per second. Okay, we'll just need to go turn on this music on function. Sorry, music on flag. Set that to true, and let's give it a go. Okay, so that's 1 beat per second. Let's destroy some of these asteroids. Yeah, it's getting faster. Let's just play until we get to the next level. Great, it's reset. Perfect. Let's just turn on the sound to have one final play. Great, that's working well. And that's the end of this tutorial series. I hope you've enjoyed it just as much as I've enjoyed making it. So we've created a little triangle that can fly around space using the arrow keys. We can press the space bar to shoot a laser. We've created randomly generated asteroids that float through space. We've added a scoring system with a high score that saves to the local storage. And we've added sound in this tutorial. I'll post a link to the final code in the description below. Feel free to download it and have a play with it yourself. You can, for example, change some of these parameters, or maybe you can add some new functionality like power-ups that float across the screen that your ship can collect. things like invincibility or an extra life, maybe a split laser that shoots out multiple laser blasts at once. The only limit is your imagination. And that's what programming is for me, to learn something new, to create something wonderful, and to have a lot of fun along the way. Until next time, talk to you then. Cheers.